stabilize immune function, at the same time reducing pro-inflammatory cytokine, and this overall improving the production of good short-chain fatty acid and increasing the immunity and also reduction of the pro-inflammatory cytokine. There are many side effects of the medication. You're already familiar when you dispense the medication, and it's worthwhile to actually go through the healthcare customer that you're getting if they got diarrhea, and there's no harm to co-prescribe with the probiotic. And these are the books that if you really want to scan to look more details, we got gathered together in terms of what are the properties that you want to choose in order for your healthcare customer to choose. And the very last slide, the good news is for the next 5 years, if you are in businesses, you can see that the market forecast for the next 5 years, the compound annual growth rate for probiotics is nearly 9%. Last year is about 64 billion, and by 2028, 100 over billion. So whoever that know the research and market, actually we can have some share in that. With that, I thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Dr. Raja, for the informative sharing. And I think we still have 2 minutes for Q&A. Any question?
Good afternoon. That's a very insightful talk. Thank you. So my question is, I understand supplements, and also you mentioned the food that we take, right? But today, increasingly, kefir, kombucha, and all kinds of probiotic foods are very, very popular. So what's your take or what's your input on that? I guess specifically not to treat symptoms, perhaps just like on a daily basis as prevention. So what's your input on that? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the very practical questions. Being asked the same question for the last couple of years. Number one, we do not know how much billions or unit of the probiotics in kombucha or probiotic that we take, number one. So we don't know how many teaspoons that we need to take. Number two, there is no randomized clinical trials of how much kombucha that we need to take per day as a good gut health or maintaining good digestive system. So end up, it's about neither here nor there. So we cannot recommend, but if the patient feels that it's better, then it's very subjective. And I cannot recommend to subsequent healthcare customer, you take kombucha twice a week to maintain good gut health. So I think that is the difficulty that we have in terms of supplementation and food containing probiotics. Thank you.
Hi Prof. At my hospital, we seem to dispense a lot of the severe brand fungi driven bioflow. It seems to work very well because a lot of patients are on it. And what do you think of this fungi? I know most of this is bacterial in origin, but here we have a fungi derived. Is that a probiotic or not? By definition.
Thank you so much. So probiotic can be formed by many microorganisms, either bacteria-based, yeast-based, or fungal-based. For example, S. boulardii or bioflow is not bacteria-based. And they're also recommended to be used for antibiotic-associated diarrhea. So again, as mentioned to you in the first 3 slides, without the data, we're just another person. So I think when we say that the patient got better, we need to see in terms of systematic review whether the use of yeast-based or bacteria-based actually benefit the individuals, either the children or the adults. And the data so far pointing out towards more bacteria-based probiotics, in particular for probiotic containing lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. Number two, for the last 5-7 years or so, the multi-strain probiotics is far more effective than single strain. So if you look at other probiotics at single strain, they are not as effective for multi-strain. So I think it's not wrong, but I think in the appropriate context, we need to see what is the available data for our healthcare customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Any more questions? We can take 1 or 2 more.
Hello, Dr. So I have two questions. So just now you mentioned about the fecal load of Bifidobacterium versus Lactobacillus yeast. Can you please explain a bit more on that? And also the second question is regarding, as we are still in the middle of COVID times. So what do you think on how evident or how significant probiotics can be used as a immune strengthening supplementation? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the fecal load that I showed to you is that if individual consume probiotics, whatever it is, Bifidobacillus, yeast-based, most of them will be dead by the time they arrive in the stomach because of the acidic environment, pH there 1 to 2. But if you take probiotics, then you leave it even some time, either a month or 2, or even really 40 hours. And if you do the sequencing of the fecal material, and you still see the same organism that you swallow, meaning that that microorganisms survive traveling into the gastrointestinal tract. So the viability is much better. So these are the probiotics that actually we should consume because they actually survive in a very tough acidic environment. Yeah. Number two, I think nowadays we really have to understand we have severe lacking of understanding about the long COVID syndrome. This bloody COVID killed 7 million or 8 million. We do not, in practice, I do not know that yet whether is there any role of probiotics alleviating a lot of post-COVID infection, patient, in particular long COVID. You have to wait for my data. We're going to start randomized clinical trial end of this year using long COVID patient, randomized clinical trial, placebo control, and we measured a lot of neurophysiology, biomarkers, and I will tell you the result in about 2 years' time. And so far, there's no data to show that probiotic A is better, take calcium, take citrus food, we don't know. So do not give to our patient if you don't have the data. Enough for the basic lifestyle, good healthy lifestyle, all this nutrient lifestyle, rather than giving something, take vitamin A, B, and C. People take vitamin C, make more acidic to the stomach, coming to us with the severe gastritis. So we have to wait for the data.
So today we learn, choose the evidence-based and data-based probiotic. Okay, once again, I'd like to say thank you to Prof. Dr. Raja for the insightful and informative sharing on how to choose the right probiotic. So now I would like to, everybody can give